designers are here.
I'm Anita from Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly from My Soulful Home.
We're here with tips and tricks and decorating advice for you. So let's get started.
This is episode 22, Rugs, where we're talking about rugs for your home. And this is, just to clarify, this is about area rugs and not about wall-to-wall carpet. So
Ooh, I'm excited to talk about this today.
I know, I love rugs. Kelly, are you a rug person too?
I'm a rug person. I'm slow to choosing a rug because I think there are a lot of considerations, and I know we're going to go over many of those today. I am just at the point where I am adding rugs here at My Soulful Home, and hanging things on the wall. So at the fun part, but I really take pause and I take a long time to think about rugs. I've had some good rug experiences and some not so good rug experiences.
I think we all have had that,
And then
yes.
I have 2 rolled up rugs in my shed right now, so if that tells you anything.
I know, I'm the same way.
But so let's talk about the rug size. Well, before we talk about the rug size, I really wanted to bring up what Yvonne's tip about trays and how they corral accessories. I loved that tip for decorating your home.
It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That's what I thought too. So
what are you going to say about it?
Well, I feel
like tell me, what did I say?
So she said the trays corral accessories, and I see
to make a vignette.
To make a vignette, and I see a rug as corralling the furniture together, not literally, but visually they corral everything, and so it feels like one piece of a thing rather than a bunch of disjointed pieces of furniture.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well
that was
put.
good.
Yeah, so let's talk about choosing size first. What goes into choosing the right size?
Here's what we have to do. We always have to talk about the foundational things, the things that you must do to get it right. And that's maybe not the so fun part of decorating until you get to the fun part, which is picking out the pattern and things like that.
Right. But this is a big question people have is the size. Anybody have any tips for the right size?
Well, I
go
think
big.
Go big.
Yes,
Go big
yes.
or go home, right?
Well, go bigger than maybe you think. And what I like to, just like, sometimes you look in a catalog or online, you think, maybe I could squeak away with the 6x9 or, the 5x7. But, don't just purchase that one because it's $80 less than the next size up. What I like to do is I take out my painter's tape, which is in my toolbox that we've talked about in the podcast, and I lay it out, or I take my measuring tape and I maybe take 2 or 3 measuring tapes and I lay them out on the floor in the dimensions, and I see, is this going to be the right size for the floor, the area that I want to cover, also the furniture that's going to be on top of it. There are less considerations in a room like a living room,
right,
or a sitting room, or something like that, where furniture's not going to be moving back and forth. But if you're talking about dining room chairs being pulled out and all, there are some tips that we'll give to you throughout the podcast of exactly how much space you need.
And you have to be a lot more careful with something like a dining room.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it could be a hazard too if your rug is curling up at the end. You don't want people falling, and then
Well, so what is the size for a dining room?
Well, the size for a dining room, I believe, is you have to have 24 inches, from the end of the table out. So that would allow a normal sized dining chair and a normal sized person to push the chair out and get in and out of it.
Right. I even would go, if possible, a little bit bigger, just because I like that nice border around.
Yes. And then I think in a living room, sometimes you can just have those front legs of the furniture on the rug, or you can have the entire chair on. But depending on your area, we might be talking about quite a large rug.
We just did that this weekend in my daughter's home. We were down. She has a home on Capitol Hill in D.C., and she has these beautiful Oriental rugs from Afghanistan. They're just really unusual, and she rearranged her furniture. And I said to her, Jackie, your front leg should really be on your rug. It's a very big rug, so we it's like wrestling, wrestling another
Yes.
person, like moving that around. It's not like you lift it up and fluff it, how you can do that. But we had
Well,
the
if
pad
it's
and
got
everything to consider.
well, the pad, if you've got the rug pad, it's almost impossible to
It
move it.
is. So
And
we
yeah.
actually had to roll the rug up, roll the padding up, and do it again, and it looked much much better.
Of course, this is what your daughter wants to do when you come to visit. I
No,
love
actually,
it.
my husband helped her. Sweet Bobby's wrestling the rug.
Well, and let
Oh,
me add
Daddy, help!
Oh, let me add on the size. Let's say you were a little nervous about the price, and so you ended up getting a rug that was a little bit too small. So one of the things you can do if you did that is to layer it with a larger, cheaper rug
Oh,
underneath, and then
yes.
put your
I do that a
patterned one.
lot, and
Yeah.
purposefully. I might just buy the more POW rug or something interesting, like a faux skin or a real skin, or just something that, a rug that's really interesting, and you can lay it over a sisal or some very basic rug, and so you're getting the look, but it's a lot less expensive.
And it's funny that you should say that, Anita, because I have chestnut colored floors in my house because chestnut is native to where I live. But when I photograph them, they almost come up orange, and I get so frustrated because they're
Yes.
really beautiful. But anyway, I have a real hide rug, but it's not a real zebra rug in my living room.
It's so fun, and I love it. I've
Yeah,
seen it.
it's because I have a sort of formal living room, and it makes it a little more fun. And it just goes under my coffee table a little bit. It's sort of in the center, but I'm really thinking about getting a large sisal rug. That will cover up a lot of that wood, and the wood's so beautiful. But here again, photograph it just doesn't photograph like I'd like it to, and then just putting that hide rug on top of it.
Oh, that's a great idea. And the other thing is, if you do use hide rugs, they only go so big, so you can layer those. We have two layered under the table at the farm, and it looks
Yes,
great.
I've seen that, and that's beautiful.
So
Yeah,
that's
hides
another
are. I
option.
do have a real penchant for hide rugs. I think they're beautiful.
Let's give one more of those measurements while we're at it, so we don't
Okay.
forget.
Yes.
We'll come back, but we're just pop into the bedroom for a second. So if
Sure.
you're having a rug that's going to go under your bed, the general thinking is it should be 18 inches from the end of the bed, sticking outwards. So that would give your, tootsies an opportunity to be on a nice cushy rug when they get out of bed, in some room. So,
And you're talking about all sides, right?
yes,
Yes.
yes. If at all possible, probably mostly important on the the actual sides of the bed where you'd be getting in. Maybe the end is not as important. But here's a thought too. I love to angle all my rugs. There's something to me about when you walk into a room and the rug is not just it's not on a perfect
It's
rectangle.
a skew.
It's a skew, and it's kind
skew.
of looking at you, and it's kind of opens up the room. It's very inviting, I think. So I'm always turning my rug. So in my bedroom, it's not 18 inches on this side and 18 inches on this side. There's space. There's probably a little bit more, but the whole thing is on an angle.
Oh, that sounds so pretty.
And it
I
doesn't
love
have
that.
to go completely under the bed. It's not like where you're putting a layer and then you're plopping the bed back on top of it. You can play with it and how it works in your room.
I think
Pull
you
it
can
out
go
a
maybe
little,
a little
have it only go
smaller.
under part of the bed.
I think you can go a little smaller if it's angled too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, see, if you buy the wrong size, give that a try before
Yeah.
you send it back.
Well, and I
Yes.
would say too, if you're looking, usually you can go bigger, but often you can't go smaller. So, I think if your rug ends up being a little too big, as long as it's not rolled up next to the wall, it's going to look fine.
Right.
So if you
Yes,
can't
yes.
decide between two sizes, I would definitely step up
Go
rather
bigger.
than down.
And I love your idea, Kelly, of taping it off. Because then you have a
that's a
real
great
visual
idea.
picture. And I don't know, does this aggravate you? I hate to buy a rug for under my bed and only
know.
have an 18-inch border.
I know.
I know.
I
It
know.
seems like such a waste, doesn't it?
Well, you can do rugs. We've got the 3 beds at the farm, and because it was going to take a 14-foot by 9-foot rug there, for now we just have some maybe 2 by 3 rugs in between the beds. So that's something.
Oh, and that looks so charming. That's so pretty. It
Well, you
suits
would
that
think
room.
somebody would think of a way of maybe making the center of it a more inexpensive fabric and then putting a beautiful rug around it. I'm thinking all that money and all that beauty is hiding under my bed.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's a case where you could go with an inexpensive synthetic larger rug and then maybe put some askew, some prettier pattern
That's
rugs
an
on top.
idea.
Askewed.
That
that's
is
a good
really a
idea.
good idea.
One
Yeah.
thing that just happened, I bought 2 synthetic rugs, now that you mention it, from Home Decorators Collection, which I think is part of Home Depot now.
It is, yes.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, and I saw them and I thought, these are just lovely. My kids are still little. My dog is very tidy, not like that dachshund. And Emmett does a nice job in the house, so I don't worry so much about that. But I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money for these particular rugs. One was for my daughter's room, and one was for the living room, in an area in the living room. I'll explain to you about that in a minute. But it was about $250 for both of them.
Oh,
And
my
I think-
goodness.
And they're lovely. And they, obviously it's not a top of the line wool rug. I didn't expect it to be, but for the price point, it looks terrific.
Put that in the show notes because I'd be interested in that myself.
I will. And the one I bought for my daughter, they both have grays, and then hers has a little bit of pink it's the same pattern basically, but hers has a little pink, so her room is gray with this blush pink going on. But here's the point: is when I put it in her room, the doors, the bottom of the doors were catching on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You'd
So
have to
think
have them
about that
shaved.
too, especially. And this is a
Yes.
low pile rug, but the door was still catching on it a little bit, and we've now sort of scooched it over a little bit, and it just misses it. But I was flattening it out with textbooks and trying to flatten it all out with her school
yeah.
books. But that's something to consider, particularly if you're going to do a high pile wool rug or something like that. If it's going to come in contact with a door, you don't want to have to take the door down and have
That
the
is
bottom
a
shaved
really
off.
good idea. Yeah. Well,
Good point.
or even in a bedroom, I'm redoing a guest bedroom right now, and we have a cedar closet and and another closet in this room, and I'm using pretty much a rug that's almost about, I think it's 3 inches on each side. It'll cover most of the area just because I wanted it to be really soft for our guests. And I never thought of that. So I better go and make sure it's not
Yeah,
going to
that's a
catch
good
on
point.
those doors.
Let's talk about fiber content because there's so many different choices. And I'm just going to say up front, my very, very favorite is wool.
Me
I
too.
love the way it wears and it repels stains. And I know people say, oh, you should use synthetic because wool is going to stain, but I've never had a wool rug stain. They're just
I have
doing
not
amazing.
either.
No, it does oddly repel. Well, I mean, you don't see stains on sheep. Like,
No, we see some
I've
pretty
never
dirty
spilt
sheep
red
around
wine
here.
on a sheep, but I wonder if you did, what would happen? I think it just sort of would
It
shake
washes
right
up well
off.
because it's a natural fiber.
Right. I do like wool rugs a lot, but I definitely delved and most recently into the synthetics, and synthetic rugs, you're like, what is that? So it's a man-made material, as you all probably know. Some of them are polypropylene, which is also, the trade name is olefin. You might see that and wonder, well, what the heck is that? Nylon, acrylic, or some sort of polyester.
Well, and I have to say, I don't know what the content is, but I have an indoor-outdoor rug in my dining room. It's from Dash and Albert, and it looks exactly like wool. It is stunning.
I think
am
those are polypropylene, and I just
might
like
be.
saying that. Because
Okay.
it's fun. Everybody should try that.
This one is
Polypropylene.
stunning.
But you know what? It's let me just say something. They ain't your mama's indoor-outdoor carpets. I
Well, there's
have one I love in my dining room, and I did it purposefully. We had a previous rug in there. We had a big party, and there were a lot of kids, and I had orange soda, and some little one took orange soda into my dining room and spilled it, and I didn't see the orange soda on the carpet until many hours later. But let me tell you, I could not get that out. And so I was looking for a carpet, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to try an indoor-outdoor, and I love it's beautiful, first of all. You'd think it's high-end.
Some of the high-end
Yeah.
ones you cannot tell, but
They're
with that
gorgeous.
stain, I guess you can put, if you cannot get it out, you can put layer another rug on top of it, or
It just
put,
wasn't a convenient spot. So I went with an indoor outdoor, and everything that has been on my rug, and we use our dining room a lot, comes out.
Oh,
that's good
wonderful.
to know.
So you're saying your indoor outdoor rug cleans easily.
It cleans so
Oh,
easily.
wow.
I just can't get over it.
Oh,
And
nice.
the designs are beautiful.
Amazing. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
amazing designs. So there's some cheap, not so good looking synthetic indoor outdoors, but some amazingly stunning indoor
I would
outdoors.
say this wasn't cheap, but I would say it's reasonably priced. You know, it wasn't horrifically expensive, but it was probably better than like the run of the mill, but not much, as far as price. So, but it's so well worth it. I'm so glad you brought that up, Anita. And you also have one you said in your under your dining room table?
I do, and it's just well, we haven't had a meal in there recently since I put it in, but it's beautiful.
Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants.
Can I just bring up this since we're talking about stains and things? I recently got a rug for under my breakfast nook table, and I loved it. It's all cotton, and I loved it because it went so well with my new chairs that I got, and I went and it had some stripes and some nice color to it. So I called. We have a very reputable carpet cleaning service here in Lancaster County. It's the top one, and they came out and they looked at it and they Scotch guarded it for me.
Oh,
and
good
here's
idea.
what they said: Scotch guard something new. It should wear for 1 year, but then you must have them come back, clean it, and re-Scotch guard it.
Oh,
And the
wow.
Scotch guarding was very inexpensive. I got all my 4 chairs around my kitchen table because they're all upholstered, Scotch guarded because they were new. And so, that just saves me so many headaches because the rug that I chose was light. And it's like, oh gosh, what am I thinking? I'll give it a try. So I feel pretty confident now that I'm okay for about a year. I'll just have them back. They'll take it out, clean it, bring it back, Scotch guarded, and we're good to go again.
Just don't invite
Awesome.
that kid back.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's probably probably
this
like a
time I'm ready for him. The only thing I can't think of a rug that he could spill
7
it
Up.
on,
That's
and I couldn't get
That's
it
all
out.
you're getting, kid.
It's like a
That's right.
showdown with Yvonne and the rug. What about
No, I'm
natural
nice
fiber?
to little children. Life is
I
messy.
know.
Life is messy. That's
So
what
what
I
about
say.
natural fibers, jute, seagrass, sisal? Because I have a sisal rug that I love. I love
I
those
love
rugs.
natural fiber rugs.
Me
You just
too.
have to be careful, especially if you're ordering them from a catalog or online. I did make the mistake of ordering what was called a sisal, which is durable and not very scratchy. But it probably was more of a core rug. It's COIR, and that is rough and tough.
Yes,
and
that's pretty tough.
It came, and I unrolled it, and that was going to be in our breakfast area. So you're approaching it with bare feet a lot, and we don't wear shoes in our house.
We don't
anyway.
either.
So you have socks or bare feet in the house, and it was dubbed the rug of nails. You've heard of the bed of nails?
Bed of nails. Oh my
It was the rug
goodness.
of nails. My family, even my dog, would go around the edges of it. And, they
Oh, isn't
really,
that? Oh,
it
see,
was that
Emmett's such a
painful.
smart boy. Emmett's
Yeah,
a smart boy.
Emmett is a smart boy. His little pads, he didn't like it. Yeah, so I thought I'm not gonna. I had put the rug pad down. I put the furniture on top of it. I thought, and it looks really good. I'm like, oh gosh, you're not sleeping on it. You guys can handle it. So I made them continue with it, but it was not comfortable. So just be aware there are different degrees of softness in all those materials. So the seagrass, jute, core, and sisal.
That is such a good point.
And
Because
I
people
want to
may
bring
not
up,
know that.
speaking of Emmett, I think we need to talk about pet
Accidents?
friendliness.
Ooh, yes, pet
So,
friendliness.
because I'm going to, in my experience, the wool is great, if you do have something, if there's an accident or spill, and then the hide rugs just clean off like, they're super easy to clean. Cotton, I don't know, that one's a little tougher.
Yeah, it is tougher. That's why you get it Scotch guarded.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Definitely. And get it professionally done. That way they guarantee that.
Good point.
Yeah, just train your dog really well.
I know. And my doggie, Molly, she's so good. She doesn't have accidents in the house. So
Well,
she's
if
really
you
good.
have a dog long enough, our Scamp is no longer with us. He passed
Scamp.
away in November. It was very, very traumatically sad. And he was 20 years old.
Oh.
I know. Little Poms live a long time. And
Was
you know,
that the
he-
one that had all the Gorilla Glue stuff?
Yes, that was Scamp.
I told my daughters that story. They were howling.
Oh yeah. Well, he's the one that got into the Gorilla Glue and thought he'd roll in it. But anyway, towards his end of life, we had him in a diaper because they will. Yeah, I mean, when they get that old. So you just have to be aware of that, girls. Because
Well, and just do the
yeah,
diaper.
Scamp was
There
good
you
till
go.
the very end, but still, you just
Till
have
the
to be,
very end.
yeah, you have to be aware of that when you're thinking about carpets and things like that.
Yeah, so
there
if the
are
end
ways
is
that
coming,
you can
no
keep
new
it like-
carpet.
yeah, we just kept him in a little diaper, and he was fine. But you do have to think about those things, and also you have to think about how comfortable a rug is on your feet. And you were talking about that, Kelly.
Yeah.
That's important. How it looks. There's so many things to consider. But another thing that we really need to consider is a rug is only as good as the pad you put under it.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, that's a
See,
quote
but now you have to
there.
be careful. And to be honest, I'm not using pads right now because some of them.
Yeah,
What?
that was me.
gasped.
That was
She just
horror.
gasped.
That was
Well,
horror.
because some of those pads will destroy your wood floors, and so I'm just really, I don't know. I've had
Well,
had
you
some of
go
them leak.
to a because I'll tell this. This is where it's worth it. If you go to a store that sells rugs, they have wonderful pads, and especially pads for area rugs. They almost feel they're feltish on the top, and they have a really nice bottom that are no skid, but that won't ruin your floors.
I have a really good post on. Well, I shouldn't pat myself on the back. Really good post.
I'm sure it is good.
It's a thorough post. That's what I should say. A thorough post on rug pads.
Oh,
and
good,
I had
good.
not. Yeah, I had not really considered rug pads back then, and this company approached me and I said, "Okay, send me your rug pads." Wow, wow, what a
Yes.
difference. I
Yes.
was not using rug pads at the time.
Well, no,
It
I do have
saves
some.
it saves your rug, and it makes it more comfortable. And if you get the right kind, it's also good for your floor.
Well, that's true. I do have some that are rather thick and they look like felt.
yes,
They
that's
were
what these
very
are, too.
expensive.
Yes,
Yeah.
They're
they
not,
are.
They're not cheap, and yeah, not if you're getting those little honeycomb things that are, they might then they stick to the floor sometimes.
Yeah,
Those
those
are
I'm not doing
necessarily
those
so great.
anymore.
Yeah, because then you peel them off, and I don't know if it's heat or something, but they do leave marks on the floor.
They
So
do it
that's not
here.
so true.
Yeah.
Well, I was just very nervous about my floor, so I didn't do them here. So let's talk about the pile options. Now, my personal favorite, I love a flat weave wool rug, like a Drury or a Killam, or just any
I
kind
do
of those.
too.
Those are my very, very favorites.
We have a lot in common this episode,
wow,
Anita.
this is
Wow.
awesome. How about you,
Yeah,
Kelly?
I'm the same
Yeah.
way.
I agree. I like that the best. In fact, and and again, the synthetic rugs I just bought, but they mimic that sort of thing. They're really thin, and the pile is very very short.
A few years ago, I got, not a few, like 8 years ago, there was a shag rugs were all, it was called something else, not shag. It was called something else, but they were shag rugs, like from the 1970s.
Is that the flocky? Isn't that what they're called now?
I forget what they were called, but
Not
anyway,
that-
they,
not
they
that
came in like
shaggy.
Not that shaggy. Okay.
in and out, like real quick, zip, and it was in and out. But it just happened to hit me that I thought, oh, that would feel really good. So I got wall-to-wall shag in my family room, and it lasted about 18 months. And it was like, after that, I was like, it's out of here, because it
It's a lot
felt
of rug.
good. My kids loved it. They
What
loved
color?
laying in it.
Is it
But-
white?
I'm sorry?
Was it a white shag rug?
I don't white. No, it wasn't white. It was like a variegated caramel tan. It
Oh,
was
okay.
variegated, so it really hid the dirt well. But yeah, after I knew, like about 2 months in, like, ooh, this is just not for me. But I agree. I think the lower the nap, the better. And also, you can get really low napped cut carpet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but I'm still a fan of it just woven and as low to the ground as I can get it.
I'm really into layering rugs.
Oh, me too.
In the house that I'm in now, it's a necessity because our formal living room, keeping room is so long and narrow, it would look so strange. I would have to get the strangest shaped carpet, and then there's a fireplace in the center, and then there's some furniture. So what I did was I needed to break the room up into sort of conversation areas anyway for the room to make sense. So I used 3 different rugs, and they're all overlapping a little bit, so it's not layered on
there
top
you
of
go.
each other, but
Yeah.
they're talking
Nice.
to each other in that way. And it's really working nicely. This synthetic one that I've talked about a few times today was the last piece in that puzzle because I couldn't figure out how I was going to make that work. So I have a sisal that's in front of the sofa, and the coffee table is sitting on top of that. Then there's a faux skin rug that I got from One's Kings Lane on an angle in front of the fireplace, but it's overlapping the sisal. And now
okay.
this grayish, very muted toned synthetic that kind of mimics sort of an ancient type of rug, like an oriental type of pattern, but it's in the grays and blacks and smoky colors like that, is again on an angle, and it's a little bit under the faux skin rug, and what
It
a
works.
difference it made in that
How
room.
about that?
Because now all the pieces are, like, as you said earlier, all the elements are now sort of talking to each other. It makes sense together instead of it feeling like a furniture store.
I think many of us have that problem. My house is broken up into a front part and a back part. It's open, the front and the back it's like 2 bowling alleys, 2 wide bowling alleys. That's what I call it. And so in the front, I've got my dining room, the foyer's in the center, and then the living room. And in the back of the house, I have the breakfast nook, the family room on the left and the kitchen on the other side. But in the front of my house, my dining room, my foyer, and my living room all have rugs. How do you do that? So they all, I mean, and they're not that far apart, and you can see them. So it's that trying to get that balance between the rugs that they look good together, but that they're all a little different. And I
Right,
mean,
you don't
it's
want them
taken
all to
me
be the same.
several rugs in my foyer to find something that I think worked with both.
Let's talk about patterns now.
Ooh,
I mean,
okay.
what kind of a pattern do you look for? Or do you prefer solids?
I don't necessarily want a solid unless it's a natural
A sisal, yeah, or
fiber.
something natural.
But
True.
I like something very subtle. I know sometimes you'll read articles about designers and say, "Oh, well, I like to start with the rug." I don't start with the rug, and I don't like the rug talking the loudest in the
But
room.
you know, don't you see these white rooms now? And there's an oriental rug or a kilim or something, just bright red, and then the rest of the room is kind of white.
I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
it takes over the whole room. Yeah, it's fun though. I don't know. Yeah.
My foyer rug is a black and white striped, big, bold, striped wool rug. I mean, it is out there.
Beautiful.
And then, of course, in my living room, I have the zebra, and that's pretty out there
Right,
too.
but that's an accent rug.
Yes. Well,
In there.
yes.
And then the foyer is like, the rug can kind of, there's not a lot of other functions in that room. It
That's
can pass
exactly
through.
what
so
you're
that
right.
can be like, wow.
That's why I picked it, because there's not a lot of furniture.
Right.
So I wanted something that really made a statement.
Right. So I think that sounds beautiful. I don't know that I've seen pictures of your foyer, but I've definitely seen that zebra rug, and the way you've layered it and worked it in with everything is absolutely beautiful. But again, that's a pop. It's not huge, and it's almost like an accessory rather than a foundational piece. I always think of rugs, larger rugs, as real foundational pieces, and I don't necessarily want that to be a big flowery pattern or something.
No, I don't think I do either, except if the smaller it is, the wilder I'll get. Let's put it that way.
That's true. That's true. Well,
But I do-
or even like a needlepoint. I haven't had. It's been a long time since I've had a needlepoint rug, but I think those are pretty too.
Or like a hooked rug. I love those. I have two rolled upstairs, because I can't use them. They don't go with my decor anymore.
Well, I brought mine to church for my Sunday school class, and somebody stole it from the church.
Oh, that's a
I don't have it
horrible story.
Wow.
Oh my! Maybe they made a big donation to your
Oh,
church.
I
Let's
guess.
hope so.
I just walked in one day to teach my class, and my rug was
was
gone.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order.
Well, what about Orientals? I mean, I know I actually have two more of those. I have a gorgeous Oriental red one, really interesting. Not like the inexpensive Orientals you could get, but a really good one. And when I finish our guest suite above our garage, that's what I'm going to use. A lot of white in this big red Oriental rug.
It'll be beautiful.
Yeah, but I don't see the Orientals that much anymore.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Because again, I think people spend all those thousands and thousands of dollars on them, and then either get tired of them or your styles change, and then you're committed to them.
Yeah, that's why I'm not spending $5,000 on a rug, because who knows what's happening down the road. And
you can get beautiful, reasonably priced rugs now, which is so awesome. I just went to a local rug store. I couldn't find anything that I like online. Went to a rug store. I'm having a carpet cut and serged, so it could be like a rug in my room, not wall to wall though. But I like how it looks.
And that's a good point. You can go to a carpet store and have them take a carpet remnant and put the edge on it, put the trim on it.
But make sure you serge it.
Yes.
Serging looks much better than binding.
Okay.
Serging looks more professional.
Yeah, serging is really nice. And you can, it doesn't even have to be a remnant. You can just go and say, this is how many, yards I need, or square feet I need of this carpet, and they can make it for you. Another way to get an off-sized rug is a company called theperfectrug.com. I have not used them, but I know friends have, and I did explore it. It's not the most inexpensive way to go, but if you have a really odd-shaped room, or you want a carpet on an angle to be a certain size, it's a good way to go. And they have a really big selection, and they serge the edges.
We'll put that in the show notes. Okay.
And then the other thing, the last point I wanted to make is, when I'm picking out the colors or the patterns for a rug, my personal feeling is, although I do love all the very brightly colored ones, for my aesthetic, for my home, I end up using usually rugs that have just two colors in them. And it can be kind of a busy pattern, but just two colors. And that way it's so much easier to work it in and make it work as I'm changing pillows and as I'm changing other things in the room. That usually it's pretty easy to work with something that has two colors versus something that has, 10 or 15.
That's a really good tip. That's true. And the tighter your color palette, the more sophisticated it looks as well.
Oh, good point, Yvonne.
Nice tight palettes. Very good. Okay, well, this has been so much fun. I think that we shared a whole lot of tips today. I know I learned some things too. So we want you to remember that we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Hey there, if you're loving our podcast like we're loving our podcast, we would love you to rate and review us. Head to iTunes to do that. It's easy, and it would mean so much to us. And if you do rate and review us, we're going to enter you to win a fantastic giveaway. The details for the giveaway are in the show notes for this episode, and you can find the show notes at decoratingtipsandtricks.com.